all day, grind all night. Never live the same life twice, that's right. So look at what I'm plotting. It's either be phenomenal or be forgotten.
What's up, guys? Today I am bringing a new series to the YouTube environment, and today I have Pac with me here. He is going to be the first guest on this series that I'm going to be calling Grinding for Greatness. And on this episode, I'm going to have this discussion about how to pretty much what your mindset should be for these events and how to actually like prepare for them and what to do during the events. But yeah, welcome to the channel, Pac. I appreciate you coming on. Let's hear it. Let's hear about you first.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? So my name is Pac. If you guys don't know who I am, I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh in July of 2019, and I kind of just, I guess, like, I entered the game because like I thought it was like a really good way to like make side money and like hustle, like just on the side, because I had like free time during college. But I found out that it was actually a really fun game because, you know, like when you're trying to like vend and like buy and sell cards, I found out that like you need to have a really strong understanding of the meta as well. And when I started learning the meta, like I remember watching like Simo's $30 like Salmon Great budget deck profile, and you know I ended up buying the whole thing, and that was like really cool. And yeah, ever since I picked that deck up, I started playing, going to locals, and I just fell in love with the game, and here I am. A couple hundred YouTube videos later, started a YouTube channel, you know, and started playing the game. So
Exactly.
that's pretty much it about me.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Pac also streams on Twitch. I'm going to have the link in the description, and also it's going to be on screen for everyone. Also, he does also have a YouTube channel, so for anyone that is not subscribed to him or me, definitely hit that subscribe button, give our channel some love. It would be very appreciated. Do you have any shout outs before we start in the video?
No, just shout out to, I guess, Legendary Gaming. Cody and I are on the same team. And of course, yeah, shout out to my channel. So if you are interested in competitive content as well, or like if you're still more casual and leaning towards becoming a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player, definitely go check me out. It's all in the description box below. And Cody's also like an amazing resource. So definitely subscribe to Cody as well if you haven't already. And yeah, I think we can get started, man.
Also, this weekend, there is going to be a LCS this weekend. It's going to be a 3v3 team event online for anyone that does not that doesn't really know about the online format or anything of that sort. I would definitely I would advise you guys to definitely go check it out on the Luxury Gaming Facebook page, which will also be in the description below. Yeah, but anyways, go ahead, Pac.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you have an itch for like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, or like just, you know, want to like, I guess, satiate that craving just for like some, you know, for a game that, you know, we can't really play like, you know, IRL anymore, or like at the moment, then definitely go check out the Luxury Gaming page, because I think it's a really cool way to still play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, even though it's not in person anymore, it's still like a really good alternative. And a 3v3 is always really fun. My team's actually gonna be with Sam and Triff, so shout out to them. We're gonna try to do a run back and see if we can like top this time.
Well, good luck on that. Honestly, it'd be very interesting to see a whole bunch of content creators topping an event of some sort.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, let's get started with this. So, Pac, how long have you been playing the game?
Yeah, so I hit my, I guess, 1 year anniversary. It feels kind of weird to say that, but like 3 months ago, right, in July. And so I'm like a year and 3 months in already. And ironically and funny enough, I've actually played more online format than real life Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right.
Like I've literally played more Dueling Book than real life, which is like crazy to me, right? Because when you think of a trading card game, you think of like real cards, not like simulators. And so, but I don't know. I feel like the online format has definitely helped progress me as a player. And but I still crave those, like, you know, just playing with a friend or just playing in front of someone, because that's why like you see me entering so many remote duels, because I just miss that feeling so much. But yeah, just only about a year and 3 months in.
So a year and 3 months in, not really that long for the pretty much like the normal length of how many people have actually been playing. It's actually more of on the shorter side. And just in that year and 3 months, what accomplishments do you have so far?
Yeah, so I won the PPG in January, which was crazy.
That was your first event, right?
Yeah, it was my first like event ever. and I just won it, which was kind of nuts. I actually was only playing Altergeist, funny enough, for 2 weeks prior to the event, because I only switched and played that deck because Pendulum, which was the deck of choice for me. Electromite got banned. Like, I think 2 weeks or the week before we had an announcement, and I was like, oh my god, I can't play Pendulums now at the PBG that me and my friend were gonna go to, and I kind of actually went on a whim, and I didn't have my invite, so it was like a crazy story about how I went to I did the LCQ. I won the LCQ, so I got my last minute qualifier. I got my invite there. I wasn't even supposed to be going, and then my friend kind of like just be like, "Yo, you should just come," and I was like, "Why not?" And then I was like, "Oh damn, I'm in top 16. I played my friend from locals, which is kind of dope." And then yeah, top 8 I played, I think, Kamal, which was the feature. Rip, Kamal and I were like really good friends now, but my goodness, he got sacked.
Right. I remember watching that actually. And I was just like, oh my god, this man has everything. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
He has literally everything on this Alter guy deck. He's going to win this event.
Yeah, I was looking at my hand. I'm like, yo, there's no way I lose. Like, it was just so broken. I top deck Faker with I had nothing. I top deck Faker and had like protocol set. It was like crazy. And then Kamal missed I think a double helix call, and then he hit extravagance, which is a 3 of in my deck.
Right.
But like, it's the only spell in my deck. So like, I was like, yo, what the heck? So it was just like unlucky. And then Ruben, I played Ruben in top 4, which was awesome. And then yeah, the final against State, and then yeah, here I am, which was kind of crazy. I definitely didn't expect to win it, but I kept cool and I just kept playing the best I could have.
Right. So any other accomplishments besides that?
Well, not really an accomplishment, but I came close to topping my first YCS ever. That was in, I guess, February, 2 months after I played with Sam and Triff in the 3v3 Vegas event.
Right.
We lost to Bowden, Nishad, and Ryan, I think, Levine in the last round, which like really like talented players, really good players. So it was like really cool to play against. I think I played against 3 Worlds competitor that YCS, and I won 2 out of 3. So I mean, that was still like so crazy, right? So being able to play against like some of the best players in the world, and like doing well, like I felt it was at that moment in time where I felt like, dang, like I feel like I have a shot at like becoming like greatness, right? Like I guess as the title of this video is called. And yeah, and I mean that's pretty much it. And then some online tops here and there, but yeah, I mean for the most part those are like the only online accomplishments, or the IRL accomplishments I have.
Right. But you've only been to 2 events though, and getting 17th at one and just winning the other one is pretty much what anyone really strives for, especially when not playing the game that long as you have not been. So like honestly, congrats to you for that. Like it's very unheard of for someone going to 2 events, getting 17th at one of them and then just winning the other one. Like it's very unheard of.
Thank you. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe it too. But I mean, I honestly attribute a lot of that, like in my interview with Simo and stuff, like I attribute a lot of that to Luxury Gaming's online tournament page, because prior to like playing at the PBG, I would play in like a bunch of like luxury online tournaments. I played against Hani like infinite times actually prior to this, like way before I knew him or he even knew who I was. Like I just played against like a lot, like some of the best players prior to, like I played Kamal before online before I even played him IRL.
Right.
Like even though I was getting clapped like all the time, but every time I did, like I got better at the game, or like I learned from it, and that's like that's what I'm trying to like hopefully inspire everyone who's watching the video, that you can like you can get better, like you can compete at a high level. You just gotta like put in the work and the hours.
Exactly. And it's really just about grinding to get better, like learning from your losses. Even though like you don't learn as much from a win as you do a loss, like even though you don't learn that much, you can still definitely learn something from a win by going back over your replays, or like going back over your gameplay, and pretty much just seeing the optimal lines of play and whatnot. Yeah,
100%.
Well, so let's get to our first topic now, and that topic is going to be, how do you prepare for an event? This is more so going to be for in real life events, since online events are the only thing we have right now, but people do want to know how to prepare for events whenever Corona goes away and we actually start getting them back.
Yeah, I would say like first is like the financial cost, right? So like going to events is like expensive, right? So if you want to
Right.
like book things in advance, make sure like if you're working, align that, or if you're a student in college, like align that with this, with your homework, your schoolwork, etc. And then so that's like the first aspect of it, of course, saving money and just I guess like it's financial on like multiple like I guess levels, right? Like affording the cards is the biggest thing, and then the second is like affording the plane tickets there. But I think for example, I think YCS Charlotte, like which would have been the next event after Vegas for me. Like I booked my flight early, I booked my hotel early. Like I knew that I was gonna commit and like go to this event. And I was able to get like a cheaper flight compared to like people who would book the night before, or
Right.
like things like that. And those like extra $100 or $200 like help a lot because that's like an extra, like 2 days worth of food, or that's like extra cards you can, buy last minute, etc. So it definitely helps.
Right. And
So there's
like,
that. Mhm.
oh, I was just gonna say, and on top of that, like, people really don't like. Some people do have bigger like budgets than other people, just
Yeah.
based on a whole bunch of other factors. But going into an event, you should know like how big your budget is, so you can plan out your pretty much like everything that you do at the weekend, based around your budget and pretty much everyone else that you're either staying with or going with. All
Yeah.
this including like plane tickets, or gas money depending on if you're driving distance away, covering
Yep.
food, hotel, and then having like a safety backup type of deposit, being like if you do need cards, if you need to replace cards or something along that line.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, no, it's super, super important. I think like I think like the financial impact of like the game definitely is definitely underlooked. So I think it's good that we're talking about it.
Yeah, like it's very, very underlooked, and it's probably one of the most important things when deciding that you are wanting to go to this event and you actually do
Mhm.
commit to go to this event by buying the plane ticket or saving your spot in a car that is going, or yourself that is driving, and pretty much figuring out who all is going to be riding with you to cut the cost down.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, there's definitely some like cool ways you can like save here and there for sure. So I'll definitely like try to like make sure if if you don't have a biggest budget, try to like figure out those things that like if you can save here or there, like some tricks with like airlines, or like if you have friends that you can like stay over at their place, just like small things that all help.
Right. And then like also guys, like I'm gonna be real, motels are like your biggest friend if you're on a budget
Yeah.
and wanting to go to an event. Motels are literally your biggest friend, because
Yep.
also another thing, motels usually have free breakfast as well, and
Mhm.
that part is very, very crucial when going to an event and playing a 12-hour long tournament on day one. Having breakfast is very, very important.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I guess the next part of like I guess preparing for an event is also like what I like to do is let me see if I can show you guys. So this is like the little mini binder I would always bring with me to like the two events I've been to, and it's essentially like a binder of like staple cards, like cards I thought would be like good for the meta, like or cards that I thought would like be uh cards I might put in my deck. You see like a random
Right.
Cerberus here. But you see, like for example, like a bunch of random links. I don't know, like there can only be one.
Side
Floodgates,
deck
by the way.
cards.
Side deck cards. Like
Yeah.
you just want to have like staples that you might take in and out as you're like finishing up, or wrapping up your deck list for the event. And I think that's really, really important because you don't want to buy cards you already own last minute just because you forgot to bring it, right? But at the same time, you don't want to bring everything. You want to bring like the cards you would potentially put in. And I think that's like a really good thing you can do.
Right. And then also, I do think that it is very good to bring these types of cards to an event, simply because like whenever you don't like, you forget to bring a binder like that and you decide, oh, this card's going to be broken for this event, like I saw so many of these decks around, and you don't have this binder and you need three of a card that you have at home but you forgot to bring your binder, and then you have to spend $30 to like get these cards now,
Gotta
and
pay
like
the juice
that
price.
and that's like financial cost. Like that goes
Yeah.
back into financial costs, because like no one knew that you were going to need these cards until you got to the event. So
Yep.
being very prepared and planning all this along and making sure that you pack stuff like this is very, very important.
No, yeah, 100%. I guess like the other side of preparing for an event is also like, you know, deciding what deck you're gonna play, the deck
Yeah.
list itself. I think like Cody and I, it's funny because like we have very different, I guess, perspectives to like looking at
Right.
this. But I know I changed my list last minute, like a lot. It's really bad, to be
Right.
honest.
I used to do that very early as well. Like
Yeah.
until like 2 years ago, I did that like every event.
Yeah, it's so bad because I'm like literally scratching. If you guys watched the PPG stream when I won that event, like Simo was reading my deck list and he was like, "Why are there so many scratches?" It's because he saw me like cut evenly match from my side deck to my main deck, and I mean
Right.
that was like insane for the event. But like it was just like those like little things that I was doing that was just like just twinkling around. It was just like crazy.
Exactly. And since you brought this up, you do actually like pretty much change your deck right before an event from what you said.
Yeah.
And like me, I advocate not to do that. Like you've had so much time to like prepare for an event in my eyes
Yeah.
that you should know what deck, like what your list is going to be by the time you get to the event. And
Yeah.
that's why I always pre-reg for events now. Just so that I don't have like these second thoughts and can make my deck worse. Even though like yes, you can find something good out the night before, but is it really worth like putting it into your deck without testing, right? Like it's just never worth. You should always go with what you're comfortable with, and just for that, I always pre-reg for events, so I can't second guess myself.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think like so I'll give a good anecdotal experience from this past weekend. So I won the giant card, and it was a list that I submitted very early. I submitted last Wednesday, and the event was, I guess, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday, I lost round 1.
Right.
I lost round 1 because I kept complaining about how I didn't like my deck list and I wanted to change it, but then the judges didn't let me. And then it was after a while that I kind of like changed my mindset. I was kind of like, you know what? Instead of like complaining about the deck list, let's just like play it to like let's just trust in it and just play what I submitted, right? And I think that mentality like really helped me because Saturday I got top 8 and I lost to my teammate Paulie, who won the entire thing. And then Sunday I ended up winning the entire thing. So it was just like a different shift in mindset, and it goes to show that like, you know, maybe you could have changed 1 or 2 cards in the extra deck. You could have like changed 1 or 2 side cards, right? But at the end of the day, you kind of play with like what you're really comfortable with, and that's like really, really important. Like for me, I played a second fiber instead of an access code, and then for some forsaken reason, like the second fiber came up like 2 out of it came out 3 out of 6 rounds for me. So I was like, dang, this is kind of nice.
Yeah, like being able to go with your gut feeling and then not really like second guess yourself is very, very important, since usually that second guess is going to hurt you, since once again you don't really have testing with the cards and whatever you're wanting to change the cards to. And if you submitted your deck list already, for instance for this weekend, since you submitted your deck list, at that point in time you thought that this was the best list to play. And like for this weekend, and doing that, you pretty much wanted to change like what, 1 or 2 cards from your deck.
Yeah, it was legit just access instead of fiber, and I think I wanted to play 3 more hand traps in the main deck. So like instead of Gamma Nib, I want to have Gamma Nib Imperm, and I was like, damn, it's definitely weird to be playing 6 in a format where like 1 is just not enough,
right?
And 9 has a better chance of seeing 2. So I was like, dang.
Right, and second guessing yourself like that, it's just not very good at all, because like if you did submit a list, right, and you actually had faith in the deck that this would win, then why would you just all of a sudden change like your deck just because of 1 to 2 cards, right? There's no reason for that. You're just overthinking it, and you should just chill out and pretty much just be calm and play with what you think is correct and not what people tell you is correct.
Yeah, 100%. No, I definitely agree with that. That's like a really, really good advice, to be honest. I think that's like what definitely people should consider doing. Just like submit the list, just sleep on it, you know, and don't stay up till 3 a.m. like me, tweaking the list, like, you know, like 1 or 2 cards back and forth. It's like, you know, just go with your gut for sure.
Right. I know so many people that do that as well. And then like sometimes it does work out, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Like the thing is, like, it's not going to change the outcome usually, and just pretty much just be calm and just pretty much trust yourself that you made the right decision.
Right. So I guess the next thing is figuring out like like the meta, right? Or like analyzing the meta, understanding what's good, what's not good, figuring out like I guess techs. So that's like kind of interesting because I think because we're in an online format right now, a lot of information gets spread a lot quicker.
Right.
You see that like when there was IRL events with YCS as regionals, a lot of content creators or a lot of like the really good players, like the pro players, they don't really share much. Yeah, they don't really share much information. So it's like I just think that it's a lot easier to find out more about what's being played, what's in the meta now more than ever. Because everyone's online, everyone's on DB. Whereas before, when you had IRL events, it was a lot harder. Like,
Right.
unless you were at the event and like literally stalking Cody every round, you had no idea what he was playing or what sauce he had in his deck.
Exactly.
I think a big key. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to do that in real life events though, simply because like there's just so much information online right now, and like being like with the events being online, and like even though it would be smaller events than YCS's, like the more like well-known players don't really have a reason to hide it when there's no in real life events. So like you said, like formats get ruined quicker, like they get solved a lot quicker with there not being any like IRL events at all.
Yeah, people are just in the lab 24/7 because like it's like I got nothing to like hide. It's like
Exactly.
figure it out.
And like there's no reason to hide it at all, like I said.
Yeah,
like there's just no reason, so why hide it for no reason?
Yeah, I guess so. Like next topic, what do you have in mind, Cody?
Yeah, so for the next topic, I have pretty much I want to talk about what to do during the event and like pretty much like how to combat like what goes on during the event, like in rounds, in between rounds, like ad registration, all of this. So
if you're if you're a new player like me or like a more veteran player, you probably noticed this at your first event you went to. These regionals, man, or these YCSs are exhausting. Like I'm starving like by round 5. Like I'm tired, didn't sleep that much the night before because these events started up at like 8, 9.
Because you were changing cards in your deck.
Yeah, well, it doesn't even matter. Like I'm trying to sleep in, but it's just like there's a lot that compared to online versus IRL events that is like definitely not talked about. And that's like stamina, right? Because you got to think about like this is how I play like DB. I'm chilling right now as you guys are seeing me. I'm like just typing effects and stuff, grab a drink here and there, eat a snack, and it's like, yo, at real events you cannot do that, and you play much poorer. It's kind of like in chess, like a lot of like the pro chess players, they play worse as like the time gets closer and closer to 0, right? Especially when it's speed chess. And it's the same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like a lot, even good players, like as the I guess we go
time's
deeper,
going
deeper
to
deeper into the rounds, we're playing a little worse because we're like tired. We're like, we're trying to get the hell out. I'm playing against Guru Stun. I'm like, Jesus, man. I'm like, it's like 10 turns back and forth. So it's just like, there's a lot, and especially as you get into the more complex game states, if you're playing a deck like Sky Strikers, right? Like you need a lot of mental fortitude in order to pilot those decks where like you get punished if you play incorrectly, right?
Right.
And those are like the things that are not being factored when like you're playing on DB, where I'm literally so chill, just like thinking, contemplating my life, like looking through these like plays. Whereas
exactly,
it's a lot harder.
And then like even though like the rounds, there aren't as many rounds online as there are at IRL events as well. So you don't have to go like the extra 2 rounds that like pretty much YCSs would have like day 1. So you don't really get to experience it that much. And like sitting at your desk, like you can go grab a drink whenever. You can just get up, go outside, like stretch. You can do all this. Like you got food in your fridge. You can just go eat something like right then. Like if your round ends early, oh cool, you can mess around on YouTube. You can watch YouTube videos. Like you don't have like this type of stress whenever you're at home. But like whenever you're at an event, the only thing you can do is just wait for the next round and like talk to friends.
Talk to friends, wait. It's just like it's definitely so much it's such a different experience, and those are the things that we miss about real events, right? Being able to like hang out with your friends afterwards, after a round, talking about your matches, venting, all the good stuff. But yeah.
And then another thing is as well is like whenever you have to wake up at events as well, like online, you can wake up 1 minute before the round. Where
Yeah.
at actual events, you have to wake up like 2 hours before so you can get a shower, you can walk or Uber to the event, you can get breakfast, which is another stop, and even then, like, you may get there like 10 minutes before the round. And if you didn't pre-reg, you have to get there even earlier. Like, you have to wake up even earlier. And at this point, like, you're pretty much just wasting like 3 hours of like sleep, where online you don't have to do any of that. You can just wake up and just hop on your computer and play. Like, you don't have to get on cam, so you don't have to shower. Like, you can just go grab a snack from your fridge, and then whenever you get done with the round, you can actually go make food. Then, like, you're not really restrained to time online.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, and I think that's like a really, really good thing to take note. And I think you're an advocate of saying that, like, IRL accomplishments are worth much more than like the online accomplishments,
Oh,
right?
for
Like
sure.
yeah, just because these are like those factors that are being excluded when you play, like, I guess, online. And I guess the next topic of conversation too to consider is, like, going along the sides of like what to do during the events and how to
Right.
combat it, is we talked a little about stamina, but the other thing to talk about is like tilting, right? Like how to stay
Yeah.
focused after like losses. And those are like where, you can get eaten up by like the pressure. You can get eaten up by like I've seen people misplay, not because they're bad, but just because like they're just like they're on a Farfa stream with 1,000
Right.
people watching. So
And
they're just
like,
like panicking. Yeah.
and like, even then, like online, if for instance, like if Farfa is watching you, right, like you only see one watcher in the chat though, and
Right.
like you couldn't even see the person like watching. But like if you're at an event and you're like one of the last matches, you're gonna have like 20 people crowding you, and at that
Yeah.
point, with the less experienced players, like that's going to get to you. That's going to make you want to
Yeah.
misplay more, and it will definitely take a toll on you, especially if
Oh.
time's like winding down.
Exactly. No, exactly. I think that is like very important, because when you have like a group literally huddled around you. I remember at YC's Vegas, we had a group because we had a judge call. A
Right.
group just huddled around us. I had a guy that was just looking at my hand from the back, just seeing what I was playing. I was like, yo, what the heck?
Yeah.
And it was just like crazy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, man, like I would be like so tilted right now, not focused on the game, but I was so focused at the game. And like you saw Sam, Triff, and everyone, the people I was playing, so focused on the game that they didn't even notice these people around us, because we were like, yo, like there's a lot of stuff happening right now, and we gotta like pay attention.
Right.
And then in terms of like going back to the idea of like how to focus after losses, because like I know, like, for example, at I think the last LCS, I remember round 1 I won, then round 2 and 3 I lost back to back.
Mhm.
A lot of people would be so demoralized, but I kept thinking to myself, like, yo, I gotta win out, right? Like I gotta like do better for the next rounds. And I didn't top the event, but I was able to make day 2 with it.
Mhm.
And I lost in like the last match. So it goes to show that like you can lose, but as long as your mindset and your mental is like still strong, you can like make sure that you just do as best as you can going forward, right? Because
Exactly.
if you get so like dwelled down or like hugged like basically by your losses, you're just gonna misplay, and you're just gonna tilt like for the next rounds, and then you're definitely gonna be out of the you're definitely gonna be out. Like you're definitely have no chance to top. But if there's still like a slimmer of a chance, and I would say like play your best and just
Mhm.
like hope for the best, because like even at the PBG, actually, like I think I went X2 in Swiss, and I made top code it. I had no idea. Like I just knew that I lost one already, and if I lose one more, I might like I wasn't like I never was guaranteed when I went X2. I just knew that I just couldn't lose anymore. I just had to keep winning. And that was like the mindset that I like had to have just to like stay focused. And
Right.
I'm sure you have many stories of that.
Yeah, it's very interesting, like how people think differently after they do lose, instead of like winning. Like you can pretty much just tell immediately, like whenever someone loses at an event, like your friend will be walking up to you like very like mopey, like, and like you know they lost. You already knew they lost. Like you don't want to ask
Yeah.
them if they lost, because like a lot of people with like the pretty much like less strong minds, like that's going to
Yeah.
get to them 100%.
Yeah.
But the thing is like pretty much how to fix this mentality. For me, I just I pretty much just don't let it get to me. Like I think of like how I could have played better, Like I will pretty much go back in the match and figure out if there's a way to play better. And if there is, I'll learn from it. I'll just learn from it. And if there wasn't, I'm just like, okay, whatever, that happens. Like it does happen sometimes where you're not able to win. But the thing is, like, pretty much figuring out when it actually wasn't possible to win or when you messed up and you could have won. But the thing is, but the thing is, like, going into like rounds like after that, you can't change the round you lost. Like, you just can't change it. So like, why dwell on it? There's no reason to dwell on it. Like, that's in the past now. Like, the main thing that you have to do is just stay focused and win all the other rounds and still top. What ways do you pretty much like, how do you like stay focused after?
Yeah, for me, like, I think it's just been like a lot of just mental training. I feel like for me, like, that's just who I am as a person. Like, that's just my personality. Like, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, when I get sacked or something like that and it's like actually impossible to win, it's like, it sucks. You're just like, damn, like, my goodness, this guy just had the second lightning storm on top of my, like, I had the judgment for the first one, but he had the second storm, you know. It's like, but it's come at that point, it's like, you know, if you knew you lost and like it was nothing else you could have done, then like you can like kind of find comfort in that, right? Like that you played the best you could. If you played the best you could, then what else can you ask yourself more for, right? It's like an impossible ask. And it's like this idea of like, oh, you gotta be perfect. It's like, no, like, you know, I did the best I could, and I lost because he had that extra card, right? And RNG does play a role, right? RNG does play a role, but I think a lot of people gotta understand like the difference between what Cody was also saying, that there are some games that are definitely unwinnable. Like the guy just drew godly and you're definitely losing. Yeah, like there's no way out. But there are some times where the guy drew godly, but you actually like you could have still won, and it was just because of one misinteraction. And those are like what differentiates between like good players and like great players, right?
I agree.
And like, I mean, like, I remember like playing against Kamal where like, bro, I was just like savaging him, but I still lost just because like I misplayed and he just went like, I get spiral trap, banish, summon the super agent, and then pop the back row like at end phase, and I just didn't have a spoofing, so I had no way to engine. Like, you know, like just like those type of things where like, you know, I evenly match him, spear mode him, but you know, he's gonna still to try to stay in the game, and that's what's really, really important.
Exactly. Like being able to keep like a clear head and actually focus with the task at hand rather than dwelling on what happened in the past is very, very important. And I can't stress that enough, guys. Like, that's how like you'll be able to go from bubbling events to topping events 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
And
I guess like
go ahead.
Talk about the next. Yeah, I guess like the next thing that I think is also really important, because we're kind of like already on this topic of like getting focused after losses, but also like during the match itself, is like definitely don't overthink within the game. Like have some sort of like confidence in yourself, especially if you're playing like a combo deck, right? Like, you know, like, yeah, like, you know, the combo, just believe in yourself and like perform it. And you know, like, yeah, you could think on like different interactions or whatever, but just like, I guess be wary of time, because I've seen like combo players just have full combo, but they're like hesitating, right? Like, and it's just like, you know, you know the combo, just you've been practicing for this, so just believe in yourself and like execute accordingly, for sure. I think that's really, really important. Like I like definitely like overthink things a lot. Like I think of like things that like don't even like, that can't even happen sometimes. I'm just like, dang, I just wasted like a thought, like for no reason.
Exactly. like being overthinking things is definitely going to hurt you in the long run, since you should be thinking like pretty much like the entire time you're playing. And like this is also going to play into the factor of like whenever it starts getting closer to time, you're going to be more inclined to like make your opponent like rush and like keep asking him like to hurry up, where in reality, like, you took a long time earlier in the game whenever there was still like 35 minutes in the round, or you didn't tell him to keep playing, like play faster earlier then, but now since it's getting closer to time, like now you want him to play faster, where you should be consistent with pretty much like speeding your opponent up so you don't get in these situations, and then also like be able to think through your plays before so that you aren't put in these situations as well.
And I guess like another thing to consider is like also like scooping in unwinnable like situations, right? Like if your opponent combos you and you draw your six, like you could technically wait until the end of their combo, draw a 6th card, maybe it'll save you. But like if you know your deck well enough to see if you have outs or not, or if you're waiting to see if they misplay their combo X, Y, and Z, then like you can like actually just scoop instead of like wasting 2-3 turns like for them to kill you, right?
Right, because that's
Like
gonna be
just
like 10 minutes at
yeah,
most.
it's gonna be like another wasted like 2-3 minutes just like wasting time, because like a lot of these combo decks are getting more intricate, right? Like the combos are taking longer, especially like on DB we do it like pretty fast, but like IRL, like I've been playing Infernobles IRL, and like sometimes it just takes a while because I'm like like getting cards from my main deck, summoning extra deck cards, I'm like flinging my graveyard around. It's like it gets really hectic,
Right.
just because there's like a multitude of steps, and that's like comes to a point where like, yo bro, I'm gonna smoke grenade you, dolphin you, and like you're gonna have like 2 cards left, like you probably scoop, and then, like
Yeah.
without revealing info and stuff like that. So and that's definitely like an important thing, because it saves you time, and those times you save will like help you like play your game 2 and 3s, which is where most of the games are decided, right? Because most of matches are 2/3 of it is played with the side deck cards.
Right, exactly. And that's a lot of things that like people don't understand, is like there's no reason to make your opponent combo out if like you know that you're not going to be able to break it. So like why waste time? And then like if you do let them play it out and then you do end up losing in time when you could have won, like why are you blaming your opponent? Like it's literally just your fault. Like you took the extra like 10 minutes trying to win that unwinnable game. Like there's no reason for that. Like just be more aware and know like the capability of your deck, and you should be knowing this whenever you enter an event as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100% for sure. Yeah, no, that's like pretty much it for like my thoughts on like this idea of like time.
Right. Okay, well then guys, I think that's going to wrap up for this episode actually. Even though like we didn't get to go into more like deck building type things for this episode specifically, I wanted to talk about like how do you pretty much prepare an event and just what type of mindset you should have for these events.
Yeah.
And I thought who better to bring onto the show instead of Pack, right? Because he is also like a lot of you guys who have not been to a lot of events mainly, and pretty much just getting the insight from more the casual player, well, not casual player, but the more less experienced player coming into the game, wanting to become better and actually grind for the greatness that a lot of people are wanting. But yeah guys, I think that's going to be it for the end of this YouTube video. Pack, do you have any last words before I end this video?
No, nothing. The only thing that I would say is basically, practice your mental fortitude, whether that's like meditation or whatever, keeps you calm. Like, try to think to that, because I think psychology and mindset, a lot of that is very important in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, because we're not robots, we're not playing each other like AIs. We're playing with real people, like real humans, like with real feelings and thoughts. And so I think like a really, really important thing is just keep a strong mental,
Right.
and that will like carry you really, really far by itself. And that's kind of like, I guess, related. I guess it's like outside of like Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think it relates to Yu-Gi-Oh or any other strategy game you would play, right? Especially when pressure is on the line. So
Exactly.
that's
Well,
pretty much it. Yeah, thanks Cody for having me on, man.
I appreciate you coming on for sure. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys haven't subbed to the channel yet, definitely hit the sub button, hit the bell as well. Also do the same for Pack's channel, and then also go like and follow me on Twitch. Also Pack on Twitch. Our links are going to be in the description below. Also they're going to be on screen for the entire video if you guys haven't seen that already. But yeah guys, I appreciate you guys watching, I really do. And until next time guys, cue the outro.
Work all day, grind all night. Never live the same life twice, that's right. So look at what I'm plotting. It's either be phenomenal or be forgotten.